He almost didn't look up. The hangar was cold and nearly empty. His shift had ended an hour ago, but something near the tail bothered him. A gap, small, wrong. Metal that should have been snug sat loose. He counted the screws, then counted again. One was gone. He stared at the empty hole, and he had no idea what it meant. Go back a few years. The company flew workers out to oil platforms, out over grey water, far from shore. Every morning, the rotor spun to life. Men in orange suits climbed aboard. They trusted the machine completely. They had to. Beneath them was only ocean. The helicopter was a workhorse, reliable, proven, flown for years without incident. Its safety record was spotless. That was the point. These aircraft were built to never fail. One man kept them flying. Call him Daniel. He was a maintenance engineer, quiet, precise, the kind who double-checked everything. Colleagues joked he loved the machines too much. He didn't laugh. To him, every bolt mattered. Every bolt held a life. Daniel had a ritual. He walked each aircraft alone. He touched every surface. He trusted his hands more than paperwork. The paperwork could lie. Metal never did. For years the system worked. Inspections passed. Flights landed. Nobody died. The routine became invisible. And invisible things stopped being watched. Somewhere in that routine, a habit formed. A shortcut, a small one. Nobody noticed it forming. That is the danger of a perfect record. It feels like proof. It is only luck, and luck runs out. It started with a feeling. Daniel noticed small things. A screw slightly loose, a bolt that seemed newer than the rest. Tiny details, easy to explain away. He didn't. He began keeping his own notes. Not the official log, a private one. Dates, aircraft, small wrong things. The list grew slowly, then it grew faster. The pattern pointed at the tail, the rear of the aircraft, a place few people thought about, out of sight, out of mind. But it did something vital. It kept the helicopter from spinning out of control. Daniel raised it with his supervisor. He brought his notes. He laid them on the desk. The supervisor listened, nodded, promised to look. Nothing changed. He raised it again a month later. This time the answer was colder. The aircraft were passing every check. The record was perfect. Who was he to argue with the record? Daniel pushed harder. He asked for the inspection to change. He wanted a second person to verify the tail. One simple rule. Nothing more. It would cost time. It would cost money. The request went up the chain. The chain sent it back down. Denied. They buried this file for years. Subscribe. Because there are more. Daniel didn't stop. He wrote a formal report. He used careful words. He described the scenario. A screw missed, a part left loose, a slow failure no one would see coming. He predicted almost exactly what would happen. The report was filed, then forgotten. It sat in a drawer. His warning became paperwork, and paperwork gets buried. Weeks passed, then months. The aircraft kept flying. Every landing seemed to prove him wrong. Every safe flight silenced him a little more. Even Daniel began to doubt himself. Maybe he was too careful. Maybe the machines really were fine. They were not. Somewhere in the fleet, a single flaw was waiting. A gap where metal should meet metal, silent, patient, loosening with every flight, counting down, and no one was watching the tail. It was a clear morning. The kind pilots love. Calm water, light wind, good visibility. The helicopter lifted off the platform. Below it, the sea went on forever. The passengers settled in. Some closed their eyes. Some watched the waves. An ordinary flight home. For a while nothing happened. The engines hummed. The cabin was warm. Then at the tail something moved. A part that had held on for weeks. It finally let go. There was no explosion, no warning light, no alarm. Just a vibration, faint at first, then harder, then violent. In the cockpit, the pilots felt it. The aircraft began to turn, slowly, then not slowly. They fought the controls. The controls fought back. The tail was no longer listening. The helicopter started to spin. The horizon rolled sideways. Loose objects flew across the cabin. Someone screamed. The pilots called out. They did everything right. It didn't matter. The sea rushed up to meet them, grey, cold, final. The spinning filled the windows, and then the water closed over the wreck. It went calm again, as if nothing had happened, as if the ocean was keeping a secret. 19 seconds. That was how long it took, from the first shudder to the last. The answer had been sitting in a drawer for years, in Daniel's own handwriting. Here is what actually happened. The tail rotor does one job. It stops the helicopter from spinning. It is controlled by a set of linkages, rods and hinges and small fasteners, each one tiny, each one essential. One of those fasteners was a single screw. It locked a critical joint in place. Without it, the joint could slowly work loose. Not all at once, over many flights, vibration doing its patient work. During a routine service, that screw was removed. The mechanic was interrupted. A phone call, a shift change, a distraction. When he came back, he skipped a step. He assumed the screw was already in. It was not, and no second person checked. The aircraft flew like that for weeks. The joint held on by friction alone. Every flight loosened it a little more. The paperwork said the aircraft was perfect. The paperwork was wrong. On that final morning, friction ran out. The joint separated in flight. The tail rotor control was gone. Nothing could stop the spin after that. No pilot alive could have saved it. One screw, smaller than your thumb. That was all it took. The investigators found the joint first. Then they found the missing screw. Then they found Daniel's report. The one filed years before. The one nobody acted on. It described this exact failure. There was a silence in that room. The kind that follows a terrible truth. The flaw had been known, written down, signed, dated, and ignored. The missing screw did not cause this. Not really. The screw was just metal. Metal doesn't decide anything. People do. Someone read Daniel's warning. Someone chose to do nothing. Someone decided the record mattered more than the risk. That was the real failure. Not the tail, not the joint. A decision made in an office, far from the sea. Daniel had asked for one thing, a second pair of eyes. It was denied because it was inconvenient. 16 families paid for that convenience. He was right all along. Being right saved no one. The warning existed. The only thing missing was the will to listen. Months later, a second helicopter fell from the same sky. And that crew was never warned at all.